it's finally time for Mickey to talk to Rachel. And it feels as though they've already had like a precursor to this conversation. Mickey's like, tell me about your pitch. And Rachel starts, and here, just to set this up, I'm listening. I'm listening to the feeds right now. I am not watching them in this moment. I'm listening to this conversation. And I have my ears, ready to hear Rachel do her pitch for Vince, because we know that Rachel's been trying to get Vince on the block. And Rachel starts talking about how she really feels like the move that Mickey should make is to put Ava on the block. And I was like, I must not have heard that right. She must have misspoke. And Mickey starts talking about like, I mean, it could make sense. And Rachel's like, it does make sense. It would get the least blood on your hands. Ava would lose the blockbuster. Ava would go home. Nobody would be mad at you. And I'm like, wait, sorry. What? Sorry. Ava, if you're mentioning Ava, you're surely at least saying as a pawn, not to go home. Like, what do you mean? It was Ava. And Mickey's like, but I really like Ava. And Rachel says, I do too. And Mickey starts crying. And I'm like, wait, what is happening? You don't cry unless you're seriously considering an option. What? All of us, wait, what? How? Wait, hold on. And I start freaking out because I'm like, how in the world is this happening? How in the world is Rachel pitching Ava? And I tweet this out. I'm like, did something happen? Did allies become enemies just for always in this house? And immediately I start getting some replies. I don't know if she's really talking about Ava. I think Ava is code. And I'm like, okay. And I start locking in, and I start watching and listening to the conversation more intently. And immediately I'm like, oh yeah, they're not talking about Ava, because Rachel is saying Ava, Ava should maybe not be here anymore, essentially. And Mickey's like, but I need Ava in the jury. And Rachel's saying, but Ava maybe has a life to get back to. Maybe it's not fair for Ava if Ava has to sit in the jury when Ava has a life to get back to. And they're crying. And at some point, Mickey's like, we're talking about, we know who Ava is, right? Like, and it becomes very, very clear that Rachel is talking about herself, that Rachel is pitching for Mickey to nominate her. And this all kind of clicks together because the conversation the night before, when Ashley told her about how Mickey and Morgan were talking about getting Rachel to jury and then evicting her as the first member of the jury, Rachel was very upset about this. And
she's done it before.
This is the last thing that she wants. She is really missing her family. And she is, trying to play this game, to win this game. It's not going the way that she had hoped in terms of competitions, in terms of her social ability. It's certainly sort of a better place than she's been before. But if she's just being dragged along so that she can be plopped onto the jury, so that she can be like a rational vote for her allies that did that to her, and she doesn't really want to be there, seemingly. And so she is pitching for Ava, aka herself, to go up on the block and potentially go home in that spot. And now she would try in the blockbuster. She just isn't sure that she would be able to win it. And she also is saying Vince is still the better option. You should be doing Vince. But if you're not willing to do Vince, do me.
And I won't be mad at you. And like, it still gives you the blood on your hands that you want. Like, I'm a big fish. Nobody's going to be mad at you. And I saw a lot of online chatter after this saying like, all right, Rachel Giesling, Like, this is Rachel's funeral. She's emotionally manipulating. What do you think, Taran?
I mean, I think that the context that we know of the conversation the night before, the way that Rachel was very upset about it, the way that Rachel talks to Jimmy later in the night about how she knows people are trying to drag her along to jury, I think that this was a genuine moment of like, I maybe don't want to be here. I think the fact that it was, that it was in code is another thing. Like if this was a pre-planned strategy by Rachel that she was talking about in the diary room, I'm going to go to Mickey and pretend that I'm willing to quit in order to make myself seem more genuine so that my pitch for Vince works. Then I think she would have just said me. I think she would have just said, put me up.
Because
I think
also at the beginning of the conversation, she says, like, Mickey's like, let's talk about what you said to me last night. And Rachel was like, so we can't. Like, actually, I can't.
Right.
But Ava. And that's when they started talking. And so to me, it's clear maybe production heard a little bit of what she was saying, gave her talking to, and then she was like, okay, I'll speak in code about this. And I do think it was a moment of weakness of her asking to be put up and go home if she's feeling very defeated about the jury situation at hand.
Yeah, I just hope that Button Boy didn't get in trouble for not catching the code. Now, she does go back to Mickey later in the day and says, hey, that whole Ava thing, we can table that. We don't need to do. I think Ava was having a moment. And Mickey says, good. And for the record as well, in this conversation, when I say they're crying, they were crying together. It was actually very, very funny because they're having like a moment. Mickey is talking about like, when I saw some stuff from you in your original seasons, I was like, this is not a good person. So I don't know what happened to you in the time since then, but the person you are now is such a good person.
Which also, as she was saying that, I was like, Mickey, what? Also,
Rachel was wild.
Rachel was always a good person. Talk to anybody who was on season 12, season 13. They all really like her as a person. She just is Rachel Riley. She will, during a competition, scream out like, Keanu, you're on my team after she sees that he does really well. Like, she just is Rachel Riley. So for her to be like, whatever's changed in you since then, I was like, Mickey.
She meant it genuinely, but it was so backhanded.
Ridiculous.
But so they're having this moment and they're crying together. And downstairs, they're Becky! 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 What do you want in your tacos? Becky! And Mickey literally had to be like, shut up! We're having a moment!
Oh, man.
Keanu literally says downstairs, oh, I really hope they were having a moment and all you could hear was us yelling about the tacos. And I was like, yep, that's exactly what happened. Yep.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.